Hey guys, welcome to the Exponents and Polynomials review video. This is part 1, so this will go through problems 1 through 10. If you need to see problems 11 through 12, please see part 2 of this video. Let's begin. So on number 1, it's starting with this entire fraction is being raised to the negative 1 power. So we remember that anything raised to the negative 1 exponent, that means it is going to go from either the top of the fraction to the bottom or from the bottom to top. It's going to flip places. Since this is being applied to the entire fraction, everything on everything on the top of my fraction is going to flip to the bottom. So I'm going to rewrite this fraction as yx squared on top and 2y to the 4th times x to the negative 4th y cubed on bottom. So I'm going to address this one part at a time. I'm going to address my constants, then the x's, and then the y's. So for my constants, I only have a 2 on the bottom of my fraction. And so that means there is no manipulation to be done. We're going to end up with just a 2 on the bottom of our fraction. Looking at the x's, I have an x squared on top, and I have an x to the negative 4th on bottom. We know with negative exponents that whatever position they're in, they need to flip, so we're going to move him up to the numerator. So go ahead and cross him out, and we can say we have an x to the 4th on top. So now I have an x squared times x to the 4th, and so this is the product rule. When I am multiplying two terms together that are the same base, I am simply going to add their exponents. So I'm going to say 2 plus 4 is 6, and I'm going to end up with an x to the 6th on the numerator of my answer. Moving on to the y's. The y's have multiple parts going on. So I'm going to combine the y's on bottom first. So y to the 4th and y cubed. We're going to do 4 plus 3 is 7. So we're going to end up with a y on top and a y to the 7th on bottom. This is the quotient rule. I need to subtract these two exponents together, So my little trick is I always take the larger number. In this case, it's the 7. And I subtract the smaller number of 1. And in this case, we get an answer of 6. That exponent of 6 is going to go where my 7 originally was, because that is the larger exponent. So we're going to end up with a y to the 6th on the bottom of my fraction. And that is my answer, because we have simplified every single component. So my final answer is x to the 6th over 2y to the 6th. Next, we're going to do number 2. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and scratch out that to the negative 1. All right, that's a bit of a typo. I apologize. And so we're just going to deal with this fraction as we see it. So first off, you notice you have an x to the 0. Anything to the 0 power is 1, so we can simply scratch him out. We can pretend he doesn't exist. And then we're going to move on to the same process. We're going to do the constants, the x's, and then the y's. For my constants, I have a 2 on top and 2 on bottom, so those simply cancel out because 2 divided by 2 is 1. Let's rewrite what we have left. We have y squared over x cubed times y to the negative 1. My x cubed is the only x I have, so he is going to just be in my final answer as an x cubed on the bottom. With my y's, the y to the negative 1 in my denominator needs to move up to my numerator. So cross them out on bottom, and we're just going to get a y on top. So I now have a y squared times y to the 1st, and so we add those exponents, because again, the product rule. 2 plus 1 is 3, so we're going to get a y cubed on top, and this is my final answer. Moving on to number 3. We had y'all scratch that out in class. So the first thing I'm going to do is I see a y to the 0. So again, I am going to cancel that out. And so I'm left with an x to the 4th, y to the negative 1, and then 2x and x cubed on bottom. Starting with my constants, I only have a 2 on bottom. So in my final answer, I'm just going to have 2 in the denominator. Looking at my x's, x times x cubed, that is x to the 4th. So I have an x to the 4th on top and on bottom. So those are going to cancel. All right. So what we are left with is just a y to the negative 1 in my numerator. Since it is negative, we need to move him down to the denominator. So we're going to get a y on the bottom. And since I have nothing left in my numerator, I'm just going to put a 1. So this is 1 over 2y as my final answer. Looking at number 4, you notice the 0 power. So we need to cross out this into the 0. And this entire denominator is to the 0 power. So we're going to cross out the whole thing because the whole thing is now equal to 1. So I'm now left with an m to the negative 2 times n. The n is fine as he is. There's nothing to combine with, so he is going to stay in the numerator. My m to the negative 2, since it is negative, it needs to move to the denominator. So we are going to get n over m squared as my final answer. Moving on to number 5, we are subtracting. So to start off, I am going to distribute this negative. And so this 6k is going to become negative 6k. Negative 5 is going to become positive 5. Negative k cubed is going to become positive k cubed. And now from here, it is just combining like terms like we do in addition. So my largest number is 2k to the 4th. There is nothing to combine with, so we bring him down. Next, I have k cubed. I have a 4k cubed and a 1k cubed. So we are going to combine those and get a 5k cubed. I do not have any k squared, so we'll skip that. For just k, the only one we have is a negative 6k, so we'll bring him down. And then I have a negative 4 and a positive 5. When I add those together, I get a positive 1. So this is my answer. For number 6, this is addition, so we're simply going to combine like terms. I have a 4x cubed and a 2x cubed. Those add together to be 6x cubed. I have a 6x squared and a negative 6x squared. Those actually cancel out because 6 minus 6 is 0. Lastly, I have a 7 and a negative 8. 7 minus 8 is negative 1. So this is my final answer. For 7, same thing. We're doing addition, so we're simply combining like terms. I'm going to start with my largest exponent of k to the 4th. So negative 8k to the 4th minus 4k to the 4th is going to give us a negative 12k to the 4th. Next is going to be k cubed, so I have a positive 4 and another positive 4, so 4 plus 4 is 8k cubed. Same thing with the k squareds. I have a 6k squared and a 6k squared, so those add to be 12k squared. Number 8, we're going to distribute the negative because it's subtraction. And so I'm going to get minus x squared minus 8. And since 2x was negative, it's now going to be positive 2x. So now let's combine like terms. I have a positive 4x squared and a negative x squared. 4 plus negative 1 is 3x squared. 8x and 2x add together to be 10x. And then 8 minus 8 cancels. That's 0. So my answer is just 3x squared plus 10x. Number 9, we're moving into multiplication. So since it is just a 6, I'm going to distribute the 6 to the 6k and to the negative 2. So 6 times 6 is 36. So this will be a 36k. And then 6 times negative 2 is minus 12. So my answer will be 36k minus 12. Number 10, the same thing. We're just multiplying by 2. So I'm going to distribute the 2 to the n and to the negative 4. 2 times n is 2n. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. So that is problems 1 through 10. That's going to conclude part 1 of this video. If you have questions over 11 through 20, please see part 2 of this video. Have a great day.